and welcome to Moonlight Madness for game number 1 of this best of 5. In the bottom left-hand corner, our purple Zerg player. This is Zavaira. It occurs to me that I'm not pronouncing that correctly at all. In the top right-hand corner, the yellow Zerg, Aecium. Going to be opening up with that gas first versus a pool first, and as you can see, Saber, the wonderful observer and production man, working behind the scenes of ASL to put so much together, all the way from Defender League here up through Prime League, which is always a thrill, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying all of the action. I know sometimes these lower league games can be entertaining for more than just their, top-end stellar play. As you guys have probably known, some pretty lowsy bronze level games, and of course these particular guys aren't bronze. They are indeed gold and platinum. So we should have some nice beginnings of some solid StarCraft 2 action. I have no idea how these guys like to play. I'm not familiar with their play styles, so I am very curious to see exactly what they're going to be going for. And yes, that is an Evo chamber on one base, which I can't say that I have seen in quite a while. I don't know many Zergs who go, gas pool Evo chamber on one base, get +1 melee. Dang it, guys! This is the best StarCraft action you are going to see all day. Forget Hyun versus Jaedong. Forget Jaedong versus Hydra. None of that matters. On top of that, Aecium is indeed going to be pulling his lings to the back. He does not want to reveal that he indeed has them. Zavaira is going to be going for the bit of a scout, and he will be like, why do you have an Evo chamber and also you have a bunch of lings? So these are not going to be speedlings. Well, they will now that speed has just started for Aecium. It has been on the way for a little while for Zavaira. And this speed is not particularly late timed. It's still quite reasonable. I certainly have seen later speeds from higher-end players. The Baneling Nest also going to be coming down for Zavaira. We'll have to see how long he's able to survive versus the lings that are going to be heading out across the map. We'll have to see what the drone control is like. Oh, that is not good. Aecium going to be losing that Overlord. This is only 6 lings currently here at the main base for Aecium. Aecium is going to be leading another 6 out across the map, and then you probably did notice the 6 on the production tab as well. Add that all together, and a little birdie in my ear tells me that's 18 lings that will relatively soon have +1 armor. And it's going to be a pretty close timeout to +1 and speed finishing. They're going to be finishing at approximately the same time, but +1 armor is going to be just a little bit earlier. Not necessarily soon enough, as we do have 6 Banelings rolling in. So, of course, a lot of this does depend on the hits that the Banelings are able to get. And Zarvia is going to be able to run down here. He's going to be leading with lings, cleans up a couple of the lings from Aecium, and actually defends this out pretty perfectly, which is, of course, the danger of if you're fighting lings against Banes, it's kind of hard to kill off, to not take massive damage from the Banes. If you're not reasonably good at control, a Spinecrawler immediately starts back home for Aecium. He's, of course, going to be looking to try to defend 1 base versus 2 base. I can't say that that is a fun situation to be in a mirror matchup, especially when you lose an Overlord like Aecium did. So he is going to be fighting from behind virtually the rest of this game, half the worker count of Zavaira. And on top of that, of course, he doesn't have the Banelings, which provides such incredible splash damage. Aecium really needs to pull something out of his hat. He will have defender's advantage if Zavaira goes for an attack, but will it matter all that much? The hatchery starts at home. Lings starting to pick off the Banelings a little bit there. Some detonations not really worth it for Zavaira. We'll have to see if he's able to get some pretty good detonations. The answer thus far isn't necessarily yes, but he does get some detonations, and his lings are able to clean up the lings of Aecium. He could go for the hatch, but he goes right into the main. He's going to be looking for the drones, and the queen, of course, is going to be here for the defense. Queen is going to get targeted down, but the Lings will be cleaned up by the Spine Crawler shortly after that. And actually, this Queen survives as well. So the hatchery gets away, the Queen gets away, and the Spine Crawler does that extra bit of damage. It's been mostly Lings on the production tab for Zavaira. He's going to be streaming out with quite a few. He has himself 20 on the map. Going to be morphing in a couple of Banelings as well, just to make sure that he's always got a couple of those Banelings for that wonderful splash damage. Potentially, the more important thing is, of course, the Roach Warren going to be coming out. Roaches are going to help Aecium actually defend against these Banelings in a far more competent way. Lings being split off by Aecium, trying to engage, of course, with the +1 armor. He's got that he's got that extra survivability, but not necessarily versus the Banelings. Banelings still do reasonable splash damage. Oh, be careful with those Banelings. Do not give too many of them away on just those 4 Lings. And Aecium is going to have to deal with these Banelings, of course. Zavaira wants to get the Banelings into the worker line. I assume he wants to get them into the worker line. Maybe he actually doesn't want to get them into the worker line as he detonates a couple of them on the Spine Crawler. Gets a couple of drone kills, 3 drone kills, which, considering that Aecium wasn't at a very good drone count before, and now he's down to 7, those 3 drone kills are actually a significant portion of his income. Approximately 30%. The hatchery will almost finish up, but the Zerglings do get to it, and they'll immediately begin attacking it and taking it down to half health before it's really been out for too long. 1 single roach, because as it turns out, when you basically have 7 drones, you can really only afford 1 roach. And the roach gets targeted down, surrounded by Lings, and eliminated as the hatchery also goes down. Aecium trying to establish himself on a second base, trying to get that economy going, just not able to do anything. Once again, the lone roach, no, 2, now 3 roaches going to be coming out as the lair and the 3rd hatchery coming out on the other side of the map for Zavaira. Ling's going to be counting down over towards the potential other natural that you can take, and is like, oh no, you literally are on just 1 base. Okay, how are you even still in this game? Once again, Queen's going to get targeted down, and on top of that, the Spine Crawler also being eliminated. GG comes down. Aecium will be eliminated. Game 1 goes to Zavaira. Welcome to game number 2. Welcome to Cactus Valley. If Aecium had something sneaky planned, he's definitely not scouting the correct way. But in the top right-hand corner, our yellow Zerg player, he's down 0-1. He needs your cheers. He indeed needs to bring the pain. This is Aecium. While in the bottom right-hand corner, showing his dominance with just some standard play, this is the purple Zerg, Zavaira. There's basically no way that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah. But, you know what? If I don't have other people's pronunciation guides to go off of, then what am I supposed to do? I don't even know. I don't know. So I'm kind of curious to see how Aecium wants to play this out. I mean, he's from, apparently, the clan Killers. So you'd think he'd be pretty good at killing people. I'm not convinced that he is. We'll see. They have a rooster? Is that just a chicken, or is that a rooster as their little clan emblem? Like, you gotta get in some nasty fights to have that as your emblem. And as you guys can see, the Spore Crawler is coming down from Aecium because he believes in cats. The thing about the whole get a fast Spore Crawler is it usually you need overlords to be somewhat okay. So he actually canceled. Like, good, that's fair enough. Normally you need overlords to be close. I'm glad that he canceled that. Fast Roach Warren going to be coming out for Aecium. We got the other guy, Zavaira. He's just standarding it up. Like, come on, 14 pool. And then like 15 hatch, 16 gas, something like that. Like, standard? No. We need fast roaches pool with basically no lings, so it's like he can't stop a scout, everything is seen, and 2 spine crawlers. So he's like, man, I really want the fastest defense roaches possible, and maybe offense. Of course, Zavaira is going to have lots of time to react to this. He, of course, needs to kind of ready his defense for the most likely impending roach attack. Zavaira. I'm actually, trying to figure out what the chat is weighing in. I love this, because now, if I'm wrong, I could blame one of you and be like, chat told me how it was, and I'm guessing they know you, Zavaira. This is going exactly how I planned. Pronunciation lessons from Twitch chat is what we need. I would tell him to get a new name. He's going to be getting speed. And again, it's not that Aecium's builds are bad. It's more that Aecium's builds, by about 5 or 6 minutes, have half the drones of his opponent. Which is, it's generally, it's not bad, it's just not good in a really big way. If that makes sense, We're looking at 2 roaches, which are going to be coming on out. The thing about 2 roaches is 2 roaches can be pretty good, but if you know that they're coming, you can build these things called lings, and they do pretty well. Now, the thing that I'm curious about is, will his 2 spine crawlers be enough to defend, and will the roaches actually get the damage done that Aecium needs? He needs to start putting on that pressure, and he needs to make use of his now half drone count. So it's going to be up to him. The onus is on Aecium to do the damage. He's, of course, going to be looking at an uphill battle if he's not able to even things out relatively soon. The more bases, just like in the previous game, as we saw Zavaira, getting more bases, getting that higher tech, and there is actually going to be the drone heading out for base number 3. The production of Zavaira is going to become overwhelming in not too long. Again, Aecium pooling up a couple of roaches. He's got 8 currently versus only 6 lings. Right now, army value heavily in Aecium's favor. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen an Evo chamber from Aecium this game. I figured it was going to be like maybe a 1-1 roach build, something like that. And the roaches are going to be moving out. Unfortunately, Zavaira is going to be getting eyes on that. I'm rearranging the place of the R in this name pretty much every single time. So, Zavaira going to be moving out with the lings. He's got the eyes with the overlords. 2 spine crawlers going to be coming down, and a spire as well. So a bit of a 3-base sort of muta play. And of course, keep in mind that he can lose a couple of drones and still be okay. Roach is going to be coming and getting surrounded by the lings. Not a good position to be in, as Aecium gets pretty much completely surrounded. 1 roach is pretty much untouched, but this is so many lings coming out for Zavaira. As it turns out, multi-base production is pretty darn good. He could stream across the map. For now, he's holding back. He's got a pretty secure thing coming in the spire. It's been unscouted for the most part. It's possible that an Overlord actually was able to get in. No, the Overlords of Aecium have not seen the Spire. This is unknown. So there's not a lot of anti-air. Queens are, of course, always that present anti-air with any Zerg, but there's no Spore Crawlers. Remember, the one from earlier did get canceled. This is going to be, of course, a big problem for Aecium if we get some mutas. He could actually just go straight for Broodlords. I know it sounds weird to, like, when you're 10-minute Spire finishes, the first thing be like, I should probably get a greater Spire. I should get myself some Broodlords. I think that, he might be skipping a couple steps if he doesn't get some other tech. Actually, I guess if he gets a greater Spire just right off the bat, we might have to check his client. 11 Mutalisks going to be on the way. This is the exact sort of thing that he needs. And of course, roaches. I've heard this. I believe in a thing called roach, but I don't believe in a thing called roach shooting up. And some very wise analysts told me that once. So you can definitely trust their words. It's going to be a tough defense for Aecium. We're going to have to see pretty much impeccable control from him, and potentially the best way for him to come back in this 30 drone deficit is indeed Zavaira making some pretty critical mistakes. Zavaira with that 3 base production up to 48 drones, so not like fully saturated 3 base harvesting or anything, but he's got a fair number of queens spread out among the bases, and of course with Mutalisks now going to be killing off some Overlords. That buys a little bit of time. The defense, we see it beginning. 1 Spore Crawler. He's going to need a bit more than that to deal with 14 Mutalisks, especially because with only 1 Spore Crawler, they can just go to the other base. Roach is now going to be moving out. Fortunately, these are indeed slow roaches, so Zavaira has lots of time to deal with them. Now, 4 Spore Crawlers going to be finishing up at home for Aecium. He's going to be pretty well defended in his mineral lines. That's 2 per mineral line. Ling's going to be once again catching out the roaches, slowing them down. This is not what Aecium needs, losing pretty much every single attacking unit that he has. He's got 2 army supply, and that is in a queen. As more Spore Crawlers going to be finishing up, the Lings might have to be brought in for a bit of a Ling Muta composition coming out from Zavaira. Muta's going to be winging their way in. They're going to find themselves pretty well held off by the Spore Crawlers because a third one is going to be finishing in the natural. Of course, they can go Overlord hunting for the spare Overlords that are spread out around the map. Going to be winging their way around the main base. Of course, they're always going to be looking for those openings. But until we actually get some proper unit mixing, like bringing in some Lings, Zavaira is going to have a hard time breaking this base. Aecium has done a good job of building that defense, but I'm still worried about his 21 to 66 drone count. It's a little bit of a disparagement between the two of them. That's not a word. Don't worry about it, as we do have Lings going to be coming in, getting a wraparound almost on that Spine Crawler. Drones getting in the way as they do in very annoying fashion. Of course, if he's able to clean out the Spore Crawlers, the Mutalisks can do the rest. Aecium needs to mount pretty much a perfect defense right here, right now. His drone count going to be shrinking a little bit more as he does lose a couple of drones there. Roach is going to be down here to clean up the Lings. The problem is all but 1 Spore Crawler has been eliminated. This leaves more vulnerabilities for Zavaira to try to exploit. As he rushes in, he's just going to dive on top of the Spore Crawler, gets the kill. Now he can clean up the drones and the roaches as he's moving in, completely surrounding just about everything with his Mutalisk, even going to be killing the insult injury Overlord, adding insult to injury with that Overlord kill. Ling's coming back down from the main from Zavaira as he does indeed fuel this attack off of his 3 base production, even killing the Broodlings. Does this guy have no mercy? Aecium, he needs to bunker up and he needs to survive. He's on 1 base production, going to be soon against the 3 bases of Zavaira. He did get that layer, so he's starting to tech up. He hasn't really made too much use of the layer just yet. He is getting the Hydra Den, which is, of course, one of those important components in dealing with Mutalisks. Unfortunately, I don't know that he'll be able to get out Infestors in time, as Roach is going to be a little bit lackadaisical to respond with that Spine Crawler. Here come the Mutalisks. They're going to be trying to get the attack. GG comes down, and Aecium, unfortunately, will be dropping game number 2. It's getting dangerous. He's going to be up against the wall. Well, he is up against the wall. He's on the ropes. We are on Terraform for one of the most important matches in one of these players' season. In the top left-hand corner, the man who's down 0-2. He represents killers. He needs your energy. He needs your cheers. This is Aecium. In the bottom right-hand corner, our purple Zerg. I just learned how to pronounce his name. He's been dominating, but will he continue? It's Zavaira. It's a good question. And one that I am not qualified to answer. These two players have kind of started to show their hands, but certainly, if all things are equal, Zavaira seems to be the player with the clear advantage in this series, which is why I was looking to Aecium to try to mix things up. He needs to find a way to get himself an early advantage. And again, going for very similar builds, very slight differences between these two players in their openings. The advantage goes to Zavaira. Will he be able to just close this out with the same solid, strong play that he's been showing us all evening? Aecium, going for those extractor tricks. But he's going to need more than just extractor tricks to be able to take the win. He's going to need a whole new level of tricks. I'm talking about like tricks that not only extract things, but also like transform them. He's going to need some transformer tricks. Maybe some Baneling tricks. As he is going to be scouting out with just the first 2 lings. He's going to be meeting Zavaira in the middle of the map, dancing around a little bit, taking a couple of hit points. And actually, that did delay Zavaira's scout by, a couple of seconds. Not that it'll matter all that much. And now, the first big deviation from these 2 players, the natural hatchery going to be coming down for Zavaira, while the 1-base play is more the style of Aecium. He's getting himself 6 more lings. I'm a little bit worried that he's going to necessarily not be able to do enough with 6 more lings, but we will have to see. First couple of lings going to be getting picked off. If you want to go for some early aggression, keeping alive every single unit is so important. As he adds on a couple more workers, adds on a couple more lings. Aecium going to be mounting up in that army supply tab. For now, he's doing a good job of staying even on the drones. 17 to 18 workers, and currently 1 base for both players. So it's going to be pretty darn even, all things considered. Of course, the question is always going to be coming down to that control. ZVZ is such a positioning-centric matchup. So many times we see roach flanks and just positional play in general play a huge role. In this particular case, 1 good engagement can give you such a huge snowball effect. Oh no, Aecium is running more lings into the waiting arms of Zavaira, donating away more units, weakening that defense just a little bit more. The delayed hatchery now going to be coming down, as well as the spine crawler for that defense. More lings are going to be popping out, and hopefully Aecium should be able to hold off this first wave of lings with his own defensive units. But he can't really move out across the map to put on too much pressure. The additional reinforcements and the queens are going to make that very difficult for Aecium. Banelings now going to be morphing in for Zavaira. 5 of them currently. Unlike game number 1, Aecium doesn't have that +1 armor. So this defense is going to be that much more difficult. First couple of lings going to be poking on forward. Zavaira wants to get those juicy Baneling hits. He's going to be trying to clear out these lings because numbers are not on his side. But on the ramp, can Aecium micro away well enough? Aecium still has a fair number of lings. If he gets a couple of good engagements here, he can contend with Zavaira. He needs to make something happen soon. Zavaira, again, starting to count up that drone tab. Of course, getting that 2 base income, starting to saturate his natural expansion, while Aecium doesn't have that luxury. He's not able to just pump out the drones as safely as Zavaira is. Lots of lings here for the defense. He's going to have to be careful because if Aecium ends up losing too many of these lings to the Bane, then it's all over. Spinecrawler going to be getting completely surrounded, trying to get itself in a defensive position here, but it will be cleaned up by the lings. A couple of Banelings from Zavaira going to be detonating on the hatchery, but he's got 3 more morphing in and 2 more just completing. Ling's going to be coming down. If they're getting a big ball, this could be absolutely terrible for Aecium as he loses a chunk of Zerglings there, but the number of Banelings has been whittled down. Aecium has survived for now, but he can't just survive. He needs to go and put on that counter pressure, do that damage to Zavaira, as he's going to be pushing out across the map. The Roach Warren now going to be coming down for Aecium. If he can buy himself a bit more time and keep Zavaira on his half of the map, then those Roaches could be the defensive unit that Aecium needs. Not with those Baneling hits. The engagement goes heavily in Zavaira's favor, and he's going to be pushing out back across the map with his Lings. Adding on an additional 14 Lings after that. He should be mounting he should be morphing some of them into Banelings. He's going to be targeting down that natural hatch, which will, of course, hurt the production and the defensive capabilities of Aecium. Now it's all pretty much just in that main base. That does mean that Aecium does have pretty much just the ramp to defend, but a couple of good Baneling hits could really thin out those Zergling numbers, as some Zergling's going to be coming in for the final defense. They're going to be trying to hold off against the waves of Lings. Very important to note here, of course, Zavaira getting, dangerously close to actually having a gold base, which hasn't quite been scouted by Aecium. He's going to want to take that out as quickly as possible. The banelings do finish, but of course these are slow banelings off creep, which are not going to be able to catch these lings, which is going to be a real problem. As, of course, lings, even off creep when they've got speed, going to be just a bit too speedy into the drone line, trying to surround the queen, go the lings of Aecium, but he's getting cleaned up on pretty much every other front. Not able to eliminate too many drones, and he's still down by 22. Aecium has got out the roaches. These are the defensive units that he needs to help hold him off. The problem is, of course, the pretty much unrelenting tide of units that is soon going to be headed his way from Zavaira. Once that gold base eco starts to kick in, the gold hatchery about to finish up in a couple of moments, the production of Zavaira could indeed skyrocket. The layer now on the way for Zavaira, Aecium close behind it, and for now he's managed to defend one base with his roaches. He's even going to be looking to head down to his natural with another drone. If he's able to get up to 2 bases, get himself a nice defense, Aecium could be looking at a much better situation. Maybe if he gets a couple more drones, he could actually make economic use of that second hatchery. But in this particular case, he's been mostly interested in second hatcheries for the production capabilities that they do provide. In the previous games, that was kind of his focus. Zavaira just chilling outside the natural base of Aecium. Going to be, of course, just kind of setting up a bit of a soft contain. He doesn't have to push in just yet. He's going to be on that 3 base. Well, he's on 3 base right now. One of them gold. He's just starting to mine away at that gold with a couple of drones. So as long as he's got that advantage, he can, of course, rest easy, knowing that he is indeed, in the long run, going to be coming out ahead. Once again, Ling's going to be coming in for the surround. And, hatchery does get sniped. The roach is not able to save it there. Aecium not able to mount the defense to save that hatchery. Going to be getting himself a spore crawler. The star sense on Aecium, letting him know that mutas are indeed going to be on the way. And, of course, more lings also heading out across the map for Zavaira. He's going to be looking for that final attack. Spire finishing up relatively soon, but also we've got so many of the upgrades coming in for Zavaira. +1 melee and, melee and carapace going to be coming up, as well as ventral sacks, because, you know what? Why not? Why not? I do hope that we end up seeing, perhaps, it won't necessarily be this, but perhaps some Baneling drops or something like that. Spire going to be coming up, and of course, more and more Zerglings going to be pumping on out for Zavaira. 63 lings, 7 Banelings versus 6 lings of Aecium and 9 roaches. No one said it was going to be easy for Aecium. But it all kind of starts with mounting the defense against the mutas and holding off the lings with the roaches on the ground. If he moves out away from the defensive position, Aecium is going to be more easily surrounded by these lings, which is, of course, going to be a big problem. He's starting to produce Hydralisks. He's starting to get out some of that anti-air defense. 3 Hydras currently out on the field. We will have 17 mutas in relatively short order. Might as well kill another Overlord. Sure, why not? Kill another one. He's not the nicest. Zavaira just not the most kind to the overlords of Aecium. Into the main base go the Lings, and they're even going to snipe a creep tumor on their way in. Roaches and Hydra's going to be mounting the defense. Also, the Spore Crawler going to be getting some pretty nice shots in here, but this is going to be the Kingmaker engagement, as it looks like Aecium is going to be losing in pretty much every one of his attacking units, trading out relatively well against the Mutalisks, but pretty much everything else is going down. 11, 12 drones now eliminated. GG, well played. Good luck comes out from Aecium, a man or gentleman, as he gets 3-0'd by Zavaira.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.